Okay, so sorry that this is coming to you a few days late, but I actually forgot I would be at Dragon Con this weekend, so I was pretty busy, couldn't exactly find any time to do another video. Also, I was at my home, and just I want to keep the same aesthetic for all my videos. And anyway, so yeah, that's my bad. It's Tuesday right now at about 11 o'clock, and I just remembered that I had to make one of these. So today, like I said, I would be debuting and showing off how I made the glove and elbow slash. I don't really know what it is. It's like, well, I mean, I can just tell you what I used. So here's what it looks like on my arm. Of course, it's got the battle damage. That's just the aesthetic that I'm going for with this build. So I guess I'll show it to you close up. So as you can see, the fingers, they're pretty gnarly up top here. I just kind of cut at it with some scissors to give it a much more mangled look, and just some scrapes of blood. And this little piece right here is actually just craft foam that I glued on to these gardening gloves that I had, which I cut the fingertips off, and you might be able to see there's a little bit of a super glue there. That's just how I sealed everything up to make sure that it wouldn't fray during a con. And let's see, so yeah, that's just craft foam, and I cut a couple divots into it with some scratch marks. This one actually occurred naturally, so I should probably touch that up just to make it look like it was intentional. The hand here, also, this is just kind of in the design. I just traced it over with Sharpie, so it looks fine from a distance. This is just this was way before I made the cosplay. We just kind of had this on the glove. It's my last name. And this part, so let's see. As you can see, that's staying in place. Like, it's not unbending or anything. If I were to bend it, which I don't want to, because this is actually all acrylic paint, and if I bend it back the other way, it'll actually chip off, and I don't want that to happen. But the way you get that warped foam look is that once you get the EVA foam, you get a heat gun. You heat it up for no more than 30 seconds on each side. And then, like, once you have this part cut out, and you can see it's kind of filed down there, so it would be much more flush up against my hand. It wouldn't just come to an abrupt stop and then it would go straight to glove. And it's super glued on, no, sorry, it's hot glued on there. And then it just flips down and it stays pretty well. But yeah, you get the heat gun, and once it's malleable, you just bend it into whatever position you want. And for this, once I got it into this position, I actually got some masking tape, and you just kind of go around so that it stays in this position, and then you stick it in the freezer for about 15 minutes, and that will ensure that it keeps the shape, that whatever shape you bend it to. I use the same technique for the elbow. You can see it's slightly bent. You can probably see it on the inside a little more, how it caves in there. Again, you just heat it up with a heat gun, and then you just warp it inward until it stays. And then once it's cooled down, stick it in the freezer to make it like, so that it won't undo itself unless you want it to. The elbow here, you can see it's kind of shiny. I went over it first with this acrylic paint. It's called Pavement. And then afterwards, I added in some fake scratches, which were just done with paint. First with a layer of light gray, and then with a white to kind of give a little bit of texture. But that was last year. This year, I actually went over the scratches that I made, and I just carved them out with an X-Acto knife. And then whatever kind of scuffs here, I got a metallic acrylic silver and just lightly brushed across wherever there was that gray or white to make it look a little more worn down and used. These leather straps were all made No, they weren't made. Sorry. They're made from real leather. And the biggest part of this is this orange piece right here, which if you just get like a shirt sleeve and you kind of half-ass it, it'll look pretty bad. And you can see it actually fits to my arm. And that was done because I actually had a morph suit from like years ago that I just never used. So I cut the forearms off, and I can probably show it better here. Dryer just went off. So I cut the fingertips off so it wouldn't show through the gloves. But since I cut a little deep on this so you can see it through, but that's fine. So I cut the fingertips off, super glued the seams again so it wouldn't fray. And then I just put the, I put it on, and I actually got really lucky because I basically just estimated like, okay, about there is where my forearm ends. And I marked that and then just cut it with some scissors. And then you can actually see, now this is also a new addition to this cosplay. I put it on first, and then once it was on my shoulder, like, shoulder. Once it was on my arm like this, it was actually a good bit poking past where the leather is supposed to go. So what I did was, one technique you have actually when welding is that you put down what's called a tack weld, which is just you kind of do a little dot just to keep the metal in place so that you don't have to hold on to it with any clamps or anything underneath. You just have that tack weld there to hold it temporarily so you can work with it more. So I basically use the same technique. I just got in between the leather and the morph suit here. I basically did tack welds like here, 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 here. Just while it was on so that I knew that once I took it off, it wouldn't come undone. And then once it was off, I just went around the whole perimeter. Just on the top here, you can see it's not super glued over here, just this top ring. And once I did that, you know, you can pull on it and that's not gonna come undone. This was just, let's see, in the show, the elbow pad goes just a little bit below the leather, so, you know, I just kind of hot glued that on. You can see the glue to leather gap right there, where it bridges it. And let's see. Light blood splattering on the forearms, elbow pad, and even the leather I think has a little bit. Yeah, there's some right across there that you can see. And one method that I'll be going over in future videos, probably when I do the shoulders or something, is this border here, because that's another thing I see done wrong. That's not even a word. Well, it is. It's just not applicable in this situation. Done wrong in a lot of other cosplays is that this raised edge just isn't present. So just very quick, I'll tell you what I did there is I cut out strips, like really thin strips. That's not even that's probably a 1/4 inch long. So I cut those out from the phone. Damn, I cannot talk tonight. Sorry. From the foam, and then cut that down the middle. And once I had that, I just went down each edge, and then once I got to a corner, you can see I bent it, and then went along here again, just with a very thin line of super glue on the armor itself, and it holds really well. You can actually see the seam from here to here, but looking dead on, that's not bad at all. These little gouges were actually done. This probably took me 5 minutes to do the gouges. All you do is you get an X-Acto knife, box cutter. So long as it's sharp, who cares? And you just go in at a 45 or 15, 30 degree angle, however sharp you want it. You just got to make sure that once you slice one side, you got to get the other so that it will meet in the middle, or else when you try to take it out, it will kind of rip like halfway through and you won't get the clean edge there. Now this might go past, even if they cross each other a little bit, that's fine, just so long as they both slice through each other at the base. And you don't even need to apply any force. You just peel it right off, and you're left with that really nice looking gouge. I think it looks nice. I don't know. I spent too much time on this. Like, I am beyond intimate with every inch of this cosplay, so all I really see are the imperfections, and that's actually, this is pretty much all I'm going to talk about with the Gauntlet. So I'll end on that. When you work on something for so long, like I've been improving this specific cosplay, I've done like 3 iterations of it, and when you spend so much time doing that, you're only going to see the imperfections. But do not ever let that discourage you, because I guarantee that unless someone has been doing this way longer than you have, the average person isn't going to see the tiny details that you may have flubbed on a little bit. If anything, that might just add to what you're going for. Like here, it's damaged, you know, like this crack here. Even though that frustrates me beyond all hell, I can just hit that with some silver paint and it looks intentional. So when you make those mistakes, so long as you cover them up decently, no one is going to notice. You're going to. That's inevitable. I can only that's all I see. There's a small stain here. You probably can't see it. Yeah, there we go. There's a small stain right there from like, I don't know, I think it was from like pizza sauce from RTX, and I can't not see that. But the cosplay as a whole, it's going to look incredible if you do it right. So don't get hung up on the details. You'll be okay. All right. Join me next week. I think I'll be going over. You know what? It's time to do the main bulk of the armor. I'll probably end up doing just the shoulders, because the torso piece, easily a 15-minute video. But tune in next week and you'll see the shoulders. Thank you.